everyone, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I thank you for your love and for your support. Okay, so if you are new to the channel, you are highly welcome, and if you have not subscribed, please, I would appreciate if you would do that. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a palazzo trouser. It's just that this one is not going to have side stitch. That's why we're not going to join it on the side, so it is a simple process. So if you want to register for my online classes, so you can see my number scrolling through the screen, send me a message on WhatsApp. So this kind of palazzo, I will recommend it for beginners. It is a beginners friendly trouser.
The beginner, you will, not should, you will be able to pull this off after watching this video. So the fabric that I'm going to be making use of for this tutorial, as you can see, it is a crepe fabric and it is 2.5 years of fabric. So that's what I'm going to be making use of. So we're just going to draft directly on our fabric. All right guys, so now let's get started. Okay guys, so these are the measurements that we're going to be needing for this tutorial. The waist measurement, the hip, and then the thigh or lap measurement. Okay, so the hip measurement that I'm making use of for this is 40 inches. So I'm going to divide 40 into 4. I'll have 10 inches. Because it is a very free trouser, I'm going to add allowance of as much as 2.5 inches to it, to my allowance. I can even add up to 3 inches because I want the hip area to be very free. And then the next measurement is my lap or thigh measurement, which is 26 inches. I'm just going to divide that one into 2, but the hip measurement, you divide it into 4. And then the waist measurement is 34, so I'm going to divide it into 4. I'll have 8.5, and then I'll add 2 inches allowance on the waist part. If you want to add an elastic to this, you can make your allowance up to like 4 inches, even 5 inches, so that the elastic can gather it up for you. And then the crouch measurement, because I want it to be a high waist, the crouch measurement that I'm going to be using for this, actually have 2 ways of measuring of measuring my crouch. The first one is you can sit on the chair and then measure from your waist to the seat, or you can use your hip measurement. So for this, I'm going to be making use of my hip measurement, which is 40. I'll divide my hip measurement into 4. I'm going to have 10 inches. If I was doing a normal trouser, that's a normal pants, I can just add an allowance of about 2 inches to it. But because I'm doing a free waist, I'm doing a high waist, I'm going to add as much as 3 inches allowance to my to my hip divided measurement. So I'm going to have about 13 inches. I'm still going to add a stitching allowance to it of about half. So I just want everyone to welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you all guys for supporting Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Actually, don't take it for granted all of your love, your support, and allowance of every one of you that have supported Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Okay guys, so if you're new to the channel, you're highly welcome. If you have not subscribed, so now because I'm going to add a band to this, and my band is going to be 2 inches, so I'm going to start on the side to get another. So I'm going to be starting from this point now. This is going to be like my startup line, so I'll take out 2 inches like this. So that 2 inches is going to be for my band, and then I'll take our regular hip measurement. That's your vertical measurement. That hip, just like you do on the skirt, is 9 inches. That's the length, is 9 inches. So I'll mark it there. And then my crouch measurement, just like I explained, I'm going to mark my crouch measurement here right now. I've marked my crouch measurement, so you can say I have about 13.5. I can make it 13, so it's just that 13.5 is just okay. So that means I added 3.5 inches because I want the waist to be a high waist. Okay, so the next thing is my knee measurement. That's from my waist to my knee. So for the waist to the knee line, I'm going to be making use of 21 inches. That's from the top, from the waist to the knee. And then the full length of my trouser, of my palazzo, I'm making use of is 43 inches. So I'll add 2 inches to it because of folding allowance. So I have 45 inches. So these are all of the measurements that I need. And then we'll start inserting the other measurements. Okay, so now let's start inserting our measurements. You can see that my fabric is folded into 2 because it does not have side joining. I'm not going to be opening this side. So my fabric, I actually folded it at 15.5 inches because I want my palazzo, I want it to be wide, so that's why I folded at 15.5 inches. Okay, so now let's get started. So I'm going to measure this way. So for the waist measurement, I'm going to, just like I explained earlier, for the waist measurement I'm using 8.5. So I'll come to this point like this, I'll mark my 8.5, and then I'm going to add the 2 inches allowance, just like I said. I'll add it here like this, and then on my lap, on my hip line, this is my hip line, this is my crouch line, and then this is our knee line, just like I explained. I'll come to my hip line, I'll insert my hip measurement, which is 10. 40 divided by 4, which is 10, and then I'll add my allowance, just like I explained, of 2.5 inches here. So from this point like this, I'm just trying to create a curve, which that curve is still coming, and then on my crouch line I'm going to put my lap measurement. So my lap is 13 inches, sorry, which is 26. When you divide into 2, you have 13 inches. So this is my 13 inches here. I'll mark my 13 inches here. So I'm going to add an allowance of half of an inch, just half of an inch, and then I'm going to mark. So I'm trying to create a nice curve up to this point like this. If you are making use of a pattern, it will be, I would have used my ruler, but since I'm not making use of a pattern, so I hope you can see. And then what I have here now, which is about 13.5, I'm going to take it to the knee line because I want it to be equal, you understand? And then I'm going to mark it here also, and then I'll just use a straight line like this to connect it. So the same 13.5, I'm going to run it to the hem of my trouser. So I'll measure here also. I'm not adding any dart to this, so you can see this is how simple it is to actually draft out this trouser. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it out. So I'll cut on this side. Okay guys, so I folded the back also. I placed the front on it, so you can see this is our folded end, which is the side that does not have any joining. So now we're going to measure the back part. So for the back, if you are adding an elastic to this, you can decide to cut both the front and the back crouch, let them be the same, because you are going to add an elastic and it does not really have it's not going to have any issues. So but because I'm going to be adding a zip at the back, so for mine I'm going to add 1 inch to mine, that's the top part of the back piece. I'll add 1 inch to it. So let me just trim up this front part so you don't get confused. That's the mark. So I'll add just 1 inch on the top part, and then on this crouch part I'm just going to come out a little bit with 1.5 inch like this, or 1 inch. 1 inch is even okay. So I'll add just 1 inch, and then I'm going to mark from this point like this. I'm not adding any allowance on the waist side because I'm not adding any that, so I'm just going to mark that 1 inch like this. You can see what I have here, and then on this side I'm just going to still leave that 1 inch, and then I'm going to float it into the sides of my palazzo. So it's just going to float in like that. So that's just like basically the difference between the front and the back. So I just want to make sure. So I'll cut it out right now. So that's how simple and easy it is. Okay guys, so you can see our palazzo on the table. That's for that. The next thing I'm going to do now, it is a very simple process. The stitching process is a simple process. So I'll trim out the top excess. So for the front part, I'm going to trim it. So for the front part, I'm just going to come in a little bit with half of an inch, just to curve that waist part a little bit. So the next thing now is for us to go and join this together. So So this is how we're going to join it. I'm going to open this up now. So you're going to take them right side, facing right side. So this is the crouch. It's a very simple process. We're going to join it like this, the crouch. So you can see, just join this. That's for the back. And then this for the front. I'll join this for the front to the top like this, and then I'll join this to the down. I'll join it to the down and then join the other one inside. That's one way of doing this, or you can decide to just place them like this together. Just place them together like this, and then join this to this on my wrong side. So I'll do that and then bring it back and show you how to connect the down part. Just join crouch to crouch, front crouch and back crouch. Okay guys, so I've joined on my crouch area, so I'm just going to trim a little bit of excess that I have. So when trimming, if you're adding a band, make sure that it is the same, as in make sure you measure the waist, because that's the only part where you can actually adjust the measurement. So make sure that it is the same. So after joining, I'm going to open it up like this, so you can see that we are almost done. And then I'll take this point like this, I'll place them together, and then I'll stitch this part down and then stitch this part down. So I'll do that and then I'll come back and show you, and then cut out the band. Okay guys, so you can see I am almost done. So this is the front. So for the front, the other parts, after trimming, just reduce the front part a little bit, just like we do on the waist. Just reduce that part a little bit, and then make sure that every part is straight on your palazzo. Make sure that the waist is your waist measurement. So I've opened up the back, so I'm going to fix my band now. So for the band, I'm just going to cut out a 2 inches band. I'm just going to stitch it around the waist and then fix the zip at the back. So like I said, if you don't want to add a zip, you can decide to just make it that same way. So for mine, I'm just adding a straight band. So I would just measure my waist measurement, and then I'll add it around. So I'm just going to go now and do that, and then when I'm done, I'll come back and show you the final look of it. So my band is just a straight band, no curve. So I'll just add it straight like that. So you can decide to do the curve band, depends on what you want, but this one is easier as a beginner. Just do this and you're not going to have any problem. Okay, so I'll do that right now. And then I'll come back and show you the final look. Okay guys, so at the end of the day, you can see how our palazzo without side joining looks like. It actually came out really fine. So that we really recommend this style of sewing of a palazzo trouser for beginners. As a beginner, this should be the first thing you learn how to sew, because it is very simple and easy. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, please, I would appreciate if you hit on the like button, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.